Hi, it's Lyle from Made by Marley. Welcome back to our channel. Today is an exciting one because I've got a very old vintage sideboard which is missing a back, and I have a piece of a chiffonier. We're going to put these together and make a beautiful piece of furniture, and as if that wasn't exciting enough, we're going to use one of the new IOD transfers. Okay, so we have this sideboard. It originally would have had a back, but there's great big chunks out of the back of the furniture there and over the side. Now Martin could probably fix that, and with a bit of wood filler you would never know. However, a number of years ago an elderly friend of my mother's gave me this top of a chiffonier. I've never had the heart to cut it up. I had always planned to just keep it as a one piece and maybe a coat stand or something. I wasn't quite sure what I was ever going to do with it, but it was so beautiful. She was putting it in the bin and she thought of me, so I got it. It's been lying in our shed now for a number of years, and it's very sawdusty and cobwebby. When I saw this, I was thinking about this piece. I thought I really want to make it quite wowsy without just filling in the back. So I said to Martin, is there any chance he could cut the chiffonier piece to about here, then cut a section out of it and have it coming from the sides as well? So he's going to, in his words, he said, he's going to try and attempt to do this for me. It isn't maybe going to be quite pretty in the corners, so I will have to put moulds in the corners to cover that up. But this is what we're going to do with this piece of furniture. So it's a beautiful chiffonier piece. It was going to the bin.
Why not?
I think it's mine, and I think that I'm going to cut it up and put it on the top of here. And I really think it'll make this dresser look absolutely glorious if we can pull this one off. Okay, so Marty's got the top on and it looks awesome. It looks a bit like a dry sink now, part chiffonier. Once it's all painted, it'll all look sweet. Now, I've got some wood filler here because Martin's done me a really lovely job, but I need to yeah, you can show Martin. But I need to put a little bit of wood filler in here and just down here. Just to kind of fill that little crack in. This is removable at the moment. It's just that we are not going to bolt this all together until it's shipping. Shipping will be easier if it's in two parts. So I'll be painting the bottom first while the wood filler is drying on the top. Then I'll be painting the top on top of this part so that it's cohesive, but it will be painted in two halves, if you know what I mean, while these side parts are drying. What it really does need is an exceptionally good clean. It is filthy. There's bird poo on the chiffonier part. Two good size, one nice drawer, which could do with a little bit of waxing, I think. Two cabinets at the bottom, and it's still got the original key, which works. Needs a good clean on the inside, but it's tidy, so that's good. And really, that's the piece. It's a stonker for today. And what am I going to be doing on the piece? I'll just do a giveaway. Jois Des Roses. It's the new IOD transfer. You've probably seen it everywhere, and the pink dresser. So lots of bars, florals, butterflies, oranges, a bit of beauty for this lovely old piece. And I'm not sad that I cut this up. I was keeping it. Why was I hoarding it? But I was never ever going to find the chiffonier it came off, because I know it no longer exists. And I just kept it because it was architecturally beautiful. But on this, I think it all works. So quite happy now. So I'm going to get on, clean it, and then we'll get back to talking paint. The majority of today's video is just going to be really about the paint, how you apply paint so that your transfer really works with your painted surface. So a lot of painting. Okay, so before you have to rewind back when you use a transfer. So you have to look at your transfer first and rewind it back to your piece. So what I like to do is I like to pick a piece of the transfer that's got quite a lot of going on in it, so that I can sort of decide. Yeah, there's quite a lot going on this page here. Let's have a wee look-see. So I am thinking I'm thinking if I add this blue and Amsterdam green, I am going to hit upon something kind of dark like this. But if I add some cocoa to that in my mix, it's going to make a bit lighter. I've got some pink shades out. I am going to feature the orange more heavily maybe on the next coat along, but I have got orange out. I've got brown, and I've also got some Provence. Now, I have a viewer who is visually challenged, and sometimes when I read out the names of the Annie Sloan paints, it's maybe a wee bit more difficult for her. So I've got a sort of light blue, a sort of fawny beige, a blue, a bright blue, a brown, a dark green, a pink, and an orange. So that's the colours I'm going to be using. What brushes am I going to be? This is a purely just fun, knock yourself out. There's no stress involved in this one, and it's certainly not complicated because it's what you like. Your blend is got to be, when you stand back at the end, it's got to be what you like. So it's exciting. You can tell I'm giddy about this one. Brushes, I have the Big Daddy brush. It's a good one for blending. I've got some more sort of these kind of brushes, and I've got ordinary oval brushes for blending. I also on the side here have Capability Green, which is a sort of leafy green, the new colour from Annie Sloan. And I also have Versailles, which is a cream colour. So we might put some of that in as well. I've got plenty of water. I've got a water spray. I've got a cloth in case I need it. And I think what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to paint it with a whole load of different colours. I'm going to let it dry. So take that as my sort of base coat, if you will, because I want some of the wood maybe showing through as well. And then I'm going to come back over it and I'm going to paint it again with maybe different variations of either darker or lighter tones to kind of give it a little bit of drama. That is the plan. I don't know. We'll wait and see. You can tell me whether I pulled it off at the end. So let me just turn round. I'll just get my colours going. Stick them all there beside me. And I'll start here, sort of here. I've got my mix mat as well because I quite like to do a little bit of both. So I'm going to start with some of this. I'm going to have to go and get some more of that in a minute. And my darker greens. I'd be wanting to put those in and around here for some drama. So I'm kind of dipping with the blue and dipping with the green at the moment and see what, if I can mix something up here that I think I'm going to enjoy. I don't want the blue to be very bright blue, so you're going to maybe have to put some green in amongst it. Just to kind of hit upon a colour that I think is going to be, can you see I'm kind of putting more sort of the blue in here like that. Let's try and do some drama here as well. Now the trick is not to have it blue. We're not looking for the blue, but we're looking for that sort of green. So you know you're going to have to kind of maybe work a little bit on this. And I'm quite liking that so far, but if I've done that up here, I maybe want something like that up here. And maybe something like that here. And let's try and see where we can put some of the next colours. I've got the Provence, which is the bluey, the lightest sort of blue, but when I add that to this, I think it's going to make that sort of kind of lighter colour I was maybe looking for. Make sure I'm kind of blending that down. I don't want to lose that drama in these edges, so I'm making sure that I've got plenty of that in and around here. It's got a little bit green again, so let's just kind of bring that down. Now, there is no rhyme or reason. This is just about what you like, and I'm producing furniture that you like, not you know, and having fun with it. I'm changing my brush now to this pink brush. Let's see if we can get some of this and see where we go with the pink. And really, yeah, just gonna, might need a little bit of water, but normally I would say squish your brush, but I'm wanting this to kind of like, I want a bit more sort of green and blue. I'm not going to labour too much on what I'm doing. I'm going to come dip in and out of this as it goes, so that you know, you can see it evolving. But it's how would we describe this? There is no right or wrong way to blend. You could watch 10 furniture artists and they'll all do something completely different. I think that I'm looking for not so much, you can see this up here is blended, not so much a blend. I'm wanting different differentiations of colour and things. So when I come back with my next coat, I think I'm going to have a lot more runs and a little bit more drama in here. I might actually introduce some black around there. But as a sort of whole, this colour here I really like. It's getting a little bit green up here, so I need to make sure that I change that as I go. But I'll do this door and up to here, and then we'll come back and I'll get Matt to film me doing this side. So now I'm adding some of the cocoa, which is a sort of lighter, the sort of beigey sort of colour, and I'm just making sure that I've got a bit of a highlight in it going up here. Mix this blue in across here so that I can put the green in. I think I want a big pink part here. Just wetting my brush for this. Just putting this dark back in here, because really I really do want in these apertures quite dark. It's an unusual palette. It's an unusual palette for me, but I didn't want to. I saw this on social media and it was with pink, and so I thought, right, I'm not wanting pink, so I'm going to paint over the hardware. I thought of just changing it out, but I think it'll look really nice when it's all done. I want some pink up here. So you kind of understand what I'm doing here. I'm just blending all the colours together until I get something that I'm happy with. But I'm going to get on and do a little bit more now. So I'm starting to put my blend on. I've done one side and I've started the underneath just with the same sort of process. But I'm just showing you there's going to be more paint going over the top of this, but I do want some bare wood. So all I'm doing is I'm just getting my water spray and I'm spraying where I'd like it to reveal the paint back. And then just kind of rubbing it for a minute. Well, not a minute. Just rubbing it like that. And just taking some of the paint away from underneath. Just because this is going to play a bit of a part. I've already squished up here so I can show you what it... I want to kind of reveal quite a lot of this wood along this edge of the drawer when it's finished. So the wood is going to play quite a part with the finish underneath. So something like that. I don't want it to look too worn. You can go a little bit mad with this. So, I mean, you can paint some of it back in when you've, I think maybe I've gone a little bit crazy here, but when I put more paint over the top of this, I can sort it. But I think right now, I think I'm kind of good for where I would like these. And I'm doing this on the sides. And the next thing I'm going to get to do is I'm going to remove the chiffonier top and paint the top, and we'll come back and I'll show you the whole piece as it is right now, and then we'll put the chiffonier back on top and we'll paint it and then move it off of it so that they're cohesive, but I don't want that drying on top of there either. Just if you're selling furniture and you want it to go in two halves, you don't want to get a big build up of paint around it when you remove the top. You want it to be that it's nice on the top and that fits on and it's fine. Whereas if you're shipping it all at once, it's irrelevant, but probably for shipping and putting it on a pallet for us, it would probably be easier if it was in two parts. Okay, I don't want to labour too long on the painting, but if I can try and sum it up like this, kind of do a sort of blendy, sort of blend as your base coat, then come back over and just add colour that complement your transfer, add water, move your paint around, use things like palette knives or rollers so that you're not getting the brush stroke effect. You're getting different textures onto your furniture, and that really does help. So I've done the top. I haven't done either of the sides yet, but I didn't. I'm not gonna. You understand it. It's very difficult. I'm just feel like it's. I wish there was an easy way to explain it, but I think you've seen it in action. It's just lots of colours until and plenty of water. So you put it on something that if you've got a floor that you don't want wet because there's quite a lot of runoff. What did I do after I did that? I got my little palette knife, my little square-ended one, and I just, while it was still damp, I just kind of chipped off bits that I thought were going to give it a nice look of distress, and that's all I really did. I just kind of went around my furniture and picked it while it was wet, because it's much easier to do something like this when it's wet, but and just took little bits away that I think are going to add something. I'm going to do it under these handles, so but I might need a bit of sandpaper for this. And you just kind of like rub away just to give it that sort of it's worn away look. You're not scraping into your furniture, you're just taking the top layer of paint off. And remember, when you do something like this, make it look as natural as possible. Don't do a big circle round it. It's not going to work. It wouldn't chip that way normally. So, and it's kind of a good way to kind of add a bit of distress that's kind of like works with the piece as opposed to something that maybe doesn't, that looks like it's had a chip or two, people have been using the handles. So yeah, something like that. I quite always kind of enjoy a bit of a corner sort of distress. You can make that look whatever way you want. However much or however little you distress it is completely up to you. Now in a minute, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and I'm going to do the sides. Once this piece is completely dry, I am going to seal here. I'm going to seal this door here, probably maybe a little bit of the drawer, and the two side panels of the chiffonier top, because I'm going to be applying my transfer. Now, just to so you can see how it works with it, if I pick any of it really, so I'll take the page out and you'll get a better idea of what sort of colours it's going to go with. Suddenly, when you see these colours around here, you can see I've got some pinks. You can see it is starting to make sense. Now, when I apply this, I'm actually going to cut this shape out here and put it up here. First of all, when I started painting, I considered moving my handles and putting them up. But I'm going to put this shade up here in this negative space, and I'm going to pull this down to about here. And I'm going to kind of have some of it going off. Now, how did I work that out? On the back, it gives you how to apply it. Now, can you see my yellow pen? So these are the two that are going to go here. These two are going to go here. And this is going to be cut out and put up here. But then I want the bird's tail. So I'm going to take it off that sheet there. But if I've got a little bit of coming off at this side, it means I need a bit on that side. So I'm going to take those roses there and cut it here on that panel. These two here, no, this one here, I want this because this is going to join onto this branch. And I want this part here to go beside that because that's going to give me some flyaways that will give it a bit more movement. And round here and round these oranges here is going to, why did I think I needed them? Because I've got this part here, but I don't need as much as that. I'll probably just cut it off at the leaf. So this is what I kind of do when I'm thinking about positioning, because normally when I have a transfer, I cut it all up into lots and lots of parts. But with this one, I'm going to try and keep my main focus here and here with some, I always think furniture looks like it's got way more movement if you don't just apply it and it goes to nowhere. If it's got some parts coming up here and there, that's fine. We can come back in with dark wax and we can dark wax in here to give it a little bit of depth. I might at the end of all this, because once my furniture is done and my transfer's on, I may come back in with a yellow, only because there's quite a lot of yellow tones in here. And I was looking at it before going, maybe a yellow might be the way to go. I don't know yet, but there might be a little bit of distress of yellow but as a whole right now, I'm really happy with it. The chiffonier top has worked perfectly. I've been celebrating the lovely Martin all afternoon, telling him how much I love it, because it wasn't going anywhere, it wasn't doing anything. So, and it works on here perfectly. It looks a cross between a dry silk and chiffonier now. I'm quite happy with it.
There's a reason why Lel saves things, because you never know.
No.
That has been sitting in the back of my workshop, getting covered in sawdust for 2 years, maybe longer, until today.
2 years. And
when this piece turned up, and it obviously used to have a top on it.
I know the woman that had the actual chiffonier when she was a little girl, her mum had the whole chiffonier with the back on. Through time, her son-in-law cut it in half and couldn't quite fix the side, and the side fell off one half, and the other half, I think he just destroyed it in the they were trying to shorten it. I think they destroyed it in the process. It didn't really work, and it ended up, unfortunately, I didn't know them then, but it went to landfill. So I know there is no bottom. But the top, she said to my mum, I've got a bit of wood, would Leslie want it? It's curly, not knowing it was a chiffonier top. And my mum said, yeah. And she came to my mum's door, and my mum was horrified because it was so big. My mum had to put it under her double bed in the spare room, because she was like, when are you coming to pick up this piece of wood? So I came and picked it up, and at the time I thought, maybe put hooks on it and make a long coat hook or something. I just didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew I wasn't going to put it in the bin. So now it's on a piece of furniture, and I've taken photographs before I started painting it today for my mum's friend, and when it's finished and it's got the transfers and I've got the nice photos, I'll send those to my mum's friend as well, because she keeps saying, has Leslie used it yet? But it wasn't something you could just fit on a piece of IKEA furniture or a piece of old pine. It had to be something round about its age, and this is old. And the lovely thing about this is, as well, is it's got all this lovely detail. It's got really nice legs. I like all that. And this obviously had a back, and probably with a mirror on it at some point. Anyway, a lot of talking there to say I'm going to paint the sides. When it's dry, seal it, so that when we can come back, I can start applying the transfer, and then we can just move through the project. Okay, so because I predominantly want most of it in here, I had to do a little bit of kind of moving things around a little bit in my head, because if I put it on here, it would have all joined up, but I don't want it to all join up. I want it to kind of be more in these apertures. So I've cut these parts out on both sides, but I'm now going to take this little bird off here. Now I have to go back and find his tail on another sheet, because he's going to be moved along here. So I'm going to start with something like this on here, but I want to kind of straighten it up a little bit, and I can come back with probably, I think by taking that little part of the away, I'll probably keep all your little parts. It's really important, because you might need them. I said I wasn't going to hack this to pieces and I was just going to apply it as it is, but this is what I'm going to do here for the start. So my first one is going on about there, I think. Now I'm not worried about this part down here yet. I'm not going to even focus on that yet, because on my next sheet above, I'm going to find some stuff to go there, and I'm going to move my bird out here. So you can see first what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that it's all stuck down. I have sealed this piece, so it should go on absolutely brilliantly. That's the best way to kind of get them to go onto your furniture, is just seal it first, just with your top coat, just to where you want to put your transfer. I'll be going back over the whole thing at the end. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Let's get these little parts off. We'll see what we can do with these. And I know you've seen me put transfers on many, many times, but if you've never used an IOD transfer before, the instructions come on the back of how to position them onto your furniture if you want to not cut them up the way I'm doing, or you want to maybe use just pieces and parts. You can just, you know, for smaller projects, and it's got this grid that so you can line it up, and they go on really well. I mean, and you use this little, this is not the stick that came with this one. I don't know what I do with them. I open them up and then I lose the sticks, and then I have to go, I've got like loads of them, but I use them for all different things. So I had to go and find a stick. I'd just like to thank IOD as well for sending me all these lovely goodies to play with. I'm very fortunate. Nearly there. So that's my first on. I can see it's taking a little bit of my paint off there, but I'm liking that, so I'm okay, because I wanted to have all these bare bits of wood behind it. So that is the first, and it comes, this transfer's got quite a lot of distress on it, so I really think it's going to work really well with what I'm trying to achieve here. Now the next thing I need to do is, I've got my 2 halves of my circle. These are going to go up here, but I still need to cut these out tidily. So the next thing, I want to put my bird back on. So let's just kind of, we can camouflage that up there, but I need enough room for his tail. I need to find the sheep with his tail on so that I can see what size he is. So just looking for the sheep with his tail. Is that his tail there? Yes. Just check. So this is the bit of the bird here, and that is his tail there, if you can see there. So I'm going to have to try and get the tail out of there. So the tail's quite long, and I don't want it coming off my furniture. So I'm really going to have to put my bird about, I'm going to take this flower and the bird out of here so that I can put my bird on, because I want this little part to come down here. Now, I'm not going to make you watch me do this whole thing, and a natural place for me to cut it would be here. If you're not quite sure and you're not comfortable about cutting them up, I've got videos where I'll show you, and you can just draw them with marker first. So I'm thinking I'm going to put my wee bird somewhere like this, but I don't need this part here. So let's just, but keep this because you might need it for when you go to put the other side when you use it again. So I'm thinking, see, I quite like that part. No, never mind. I think we're going to do something like that. We're going to get him put there. So let's just focus on getting him looking nice, and relatively straight might help. Does he look quite straight there, Martin? Too late, I've committed.
Well, in that case, yes, perfectly straight.
So I'm just you're just gonna see me putting some of this bird on, and I'll cut his tail out of the other section, and we'll get him on, and then I'll do this door with some few more branches coming up, and then I'll come back and I'll get Martin to film me starting to put together the plot, because sometimes I think it's not so much the application you want to see, it's maybe how you would plan it out. And I think that's probably maybe sometimes more beneficial, because it's pretty much self-explanatory how you do it. It's just that sometimes I think things like this, and I'll be honest as well, you know, you want to get it right first time. You don't want to make a mess of it. And so just kind of take a minute, do what I did, get a pen, look at the back, plan it out, because planning for these kind of things is really kind of key. And you can understand now why I set the scene with the colours that I did.
I'm looking at the moment through the camera, and
you can see.
I mean, your blend, your colours, match this transfer perfectly.
And that is the key. You rewind it back if you're using a transfer. What's in your transfer, what you're putting in your furniture, where you're going to apply your transfer as well. Get all that planned out first, so that when you go to use your transfer, it's the easy part. You know, it's the easy. You know, you've done all the thinking about it. So If you want to burnish them on, just get your paper and do this, but I'm going to do the whole thing at once. So, but that's how he looks so far, and I need to go and find his tail now. Fabulous. So I'm sorry, I forgot. I was going to come back and show you me putting this side on, and I completely forgot. I just got in the zone and forgot. So what I did on this side was I just extended those flowers out and I put those up there. They were the remainder of the part that I cut off down here. So that kind of has given me some flow. So I'm happy with that.
Excuse me.
Oh, Matt, you're choking. So on this side here, I want to have some more, like, because this moves here, I want to have some movement here. So I've got some rosebuds, which I'm going to probably put up about here. It's going to go a bit higher than the other side, but that's okay. It doesn't have to have symmetry. It just has to... No, shouldn't have really had my fingers on that there, but I've done this so many times that... Right, put that in here. And you notice I'm putting it into the crease first, really. And just making sure I get this end of my little bud. And let's give that a little smooth out. So that adds something up there now. So I've got here and here, which gives it a kind of flow. It gives it movement. Now, next thing I've got another bud here, but I've got a butterfly. So let's just get the butterfly off of here. And I thought I might put this kind of here. Here. I want it to go up as high as I can, really, so before I get into this ridge. So let's just get this wing on first. I haven't really used that much of this so far, which is quite good because I'm going to put a wee bit up here and the back of the Chiffonier. So I thought maybe I would be putting a bit more height, but I think it's going to camouflage too much of this bare wooden things, and it all works together. So I don't want to completely cover up all the work that I've done with the paint finish and the distressing either. So what am I doing? This way around. So that's like that. Now, back to the shape here, which I'm going to put up in here. Now I have to make sure that it fits. And I'm going to have to be kind of on it, Martin, with straightness. I'm just going to take this part here away and here away, which will help me fit it a little bit better. I better put it around the right way, that might help. So I'm thinking it fits on this side. And okay, let's just go for it. So if I use pretty much the sort of center of my piece of furniture, although it's not cut straight, but let's just do something like this. You can tell me in a minute, Martin, if it's not right. I should have stopped to ask. I'm going to have to be careful because I've cut all of these little parts around these edges, so I need to make sure I kind of do them all individually. So I'll take it from this side first. And just make sure that I've got that all. Up in here. This bit kind of thing is a bit awkward. I actually toyed with not putting the words back on. I quite liked it without it, but then I thought, nah, I'll just go for it. Just when you've cut it out and you've got these little kind of edges, just take your time. Just take your time going round them all, because you don't want to lose them as you go. Get this part off. And I'm just going to do one side because I'm not going to make you watch it all. I'm wondering whether I could just be clever and just do something like that to finish it. Yeah. Just make sure that it's all secured down. Now, before you go down there, you're going to have to get some sort of kind of knife and cut. And I've showed you this before, but quite often what I do is I just fold over. Sorry?
Nothing.
What are you going to say?
Nothing.
I just kind of like to do this to burnish it into the join as well. Have I done it wrong, Martin? Is that what you're about to say?
No, I'm not saying anything.
What is it?
I'm not saying.
Is it upside down?
I wasn't saying anything, darling. Honestly, I wasn't commenting.
I thought you were trying to tell me something.
No.
All right. I think. Does that look right, Martin?
I'm looking at the C and it looks perfect. So.
Right. Okay. You're my seal of approval. If you say that's straight, it's straight. So you understand what I'm doing here. I'm just going to put this side on now, and then I'll pick a part to do on the drawer, and then we'll get up to the top and I'll show you what my sort of thoughts are about what I'm going to do up the top. Okie dokie. So I'm happy with this panel, happy with this panel, happy with this. And what I did was I just got some pieces and parts, nothing that was going to detract too much from bigger sheets, and I've just added them along there by putting some leaves up, some leaves down. It makes it look like it's got that pattern all the way across because of the paint that's underneath it. So let's move on to the top now. In case you wonder, is there anything left over when I do these? These are the two pieces that I have that haven't been used so far. One is a branch and one is this little part here. So you're not wasting anything by cutting them up. You can slot these in other areas. I went and lost the back of that, so I'm just setting that over there just now because I see if I can put it in here somewhere. So by cutting the pieces out, I've been left with this and this, which I think I can make work because I took a bit of a straight edge off because I wanted to get some of these oranges off of it. So let's work on this one first, because let's try and use what we've got so we don't have to use it anymore. Now I'm going to have to try and put a top of a bit of leaf in there, and I think probably just taking that part there probably is going to work for me, and it's probably going to give quite nice movements. So let's just cut that across there and we'll see what we can do with those leaves in a minute. Let's see what we've got now. How is that going to fit in? I don't need this little part here because it's obviously a connector to something, so let's remove that. If I could tuck that under there, it wouldn't matter if that leaf was missing. Yeah, okay, let's go for it. Let's see if I can get that under there. Something like that, I think. Focus on this top part first. Get that bit down in there. Now, I had my little stick a minute ago. So let's try and make sure it's all down first. Across the piece, and then we'll start in earnest. And again, I sealed up here as well, so I shouldn't have any problems with getting my transfer to come off up here. Sometimes you get little parts that just don't want to transfer off. Sorry, I'm not saying anything. I'm just concentrating. I'm just concentrating on getting this off. And there we go. I'll just take a little bit of this off so I can burnish it. I really like this. It's really nice. I'm really pleased with how it looks. So that's that. We know that I'm going to be putting these. I'll just take I'll just do a quick bit of getting some of this excess off just now. Sometimes if you get rid of some of that, it makes it easier for you to kind of understand where your sort of placement is going to go. I don't really want to lose the top of there, but I could have this coming down. Yeah, this might suit me better. But then I've got the oranges. I think we really have to go this way right now. I'll bring this along so I can put my leaf up onto there. And I'll bring my oranges around here. Right, okay. See what I did there? Snap decisions. So I'm just using the furniture to kind of like, for me to kind of understand where I need to kind of cut it out. Oh, helps if I hold on to it. And that should be there and thereabouts. Don't know if I need this part here, to be honest with you. Try that again. Yeah, I think I'm going to put this one on here like this, and I'm just trying to work out whether I'm going to have, if I put this leaf up here, I'm going to have pick a flyaway at some point to put somewhere else on the furniture, but there was a rosebud somewhere that I had a minute ago. I'm wondering whether I might attach that rosebud up. Yeah. Okay, right. Decision made. Okay. So let me just put that down in there. Lost my little stick now. It was there a minute ago. Aha. You understand, I mean, I'm not going to show you me doing every single part of the transfer, but as I said before, I think it's more important that you understand basic kind of how to position it, how to put the paint underneath, how to make it all work as a cohesive design. I think those are the things that are the important things, because as I said, the transfers are really easy to use. They're not difficult. They're not scary. I don't think I've ever really had one that's went wrong. So, you know, shall I just quit it here, Martin, or will I show them this to the end?
I can pull back and you can kind of show the composition.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Do you want me to do that now, or do you want me to?
Yeah, let's just pull back and just give us that in a second.
Okay. So, if you kind of see, I've
got the whole piece in now.
I can see this side here is more dense with flowers. So it's denser up beside here. It's less dense here. So I'm going to have to add something tight, not like a flyaway part, something dense here to balance that side out. I'm also going to put this rose up here because we've got a bit going off at that side. I have this actually. It's a piece left over. I might put that in there. Yeah, if I put that in there, that evens out the denseness on this side. I could do with another sort of flyaway piece for over here, and then that will be fine. I'm not sure whether I might do something, just a little accent on here, just a tiny thing. But when you see the flow and the movement, it kind of moves. It's not straight and flat. It's not been applied and cut where it just stops. It moves. This works because it complements down here, and up here is fine. I am not probably going to do anything with this centre. I might, if I've got some leaves left over, maybe because there was a section where I had quite a few leaves, I might do some leaves in and about here, but that's it. I think it'll just kind of detract from that beautiful detailing if I put too much onto it. So that is us pretty much. I'll get Matt to come back one last time when I've got a bit the rest of this on, and then it will be sealing and staging. So the piece has been sealed with my top coat sealer, which is French Chic, and now it's thoroughly dry. I'm just coming in. I've got some clear wax on this brush and some dark wax on this brush. Sometimes, you know, even though it's been sealed and it's probably more easily wipeable than without it, you should always maybe just have a bit of clear wax on it just to kind of help it move, and kind of then you can kind of decide where you want to go. So all I'm doing now is I'm just putting some dark shadows in these recesses here with the wax. I've done down here just to give it a little bit of depth. I can run it down in this joint here, and I've just put some clear wax on here, so we're good. And that just brings out that there and gives it a little bit of definition. Some more clear wax here, and I'll kind of tie up that joint there. So I'm just going around this part first. I've done this side. I'm not over waxing it. I just wanted to bring out these, I kind of envisaged these being quite dark, and I just wanted to make sure that they were quite dark. Always pretty good to kind of maybe put some clear wax on some of these handles, and we can bring these out with some dark wax as well. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up the top, and I'm going to try and bring out some of the detail in the mouldings with the dark wax. If you think you've done a bit too much, give it a little wipe. It's just to kind of let it sit in the detail of these nice handles, because they've got a little bit of detail. Kind of brings out that, makes that a little bit more interesting. So that's all I'm kind of really going to do. I think I'll put a little bit of dark wax here and a little bit of dark wax here. And this time I'm going to kind of just soften it up with my clear brush. Maybe a little bit more here. So this is just, again, playing around with your paint finishes to get something that you quite like. Just wanting that to kind of be a bit dirtier down here. Yeah. I don't think this needs much up here. Just kind of make it look like it's got a little bit kind of dirt around it. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't want to overwork it, and I don't want to stand back and go, because I'm quite a fan of the dark wax, and I don't want to stand back and go, okay, I've kind of gone a little bit too much. I'm just going to put some dark wax on the hinges here, and then just soften them up with my clear wax. There we go. Anywhere where you think that kind of going to bring out any sort of details and make them pop. So I'll get on, and I'll get Matt to come back when I've kind of done a little bit more on the top, and I can show you what that looks like there. Okay, so I'm just working my way around the top up here. I'm just putting in to darken it, kind of put the low lights back in to give it a little bit of definition from a distance. And I've still got plenty of clear wax on my brush, and I'm just using it to kind of work it. I am just going to bring this dark wax round in here, and then we'll soften it up. Heavy with wax there. And I want to have some sort of definition down this bottom part as well. And in this joint here. And let's just open this up. That just kind of makes that all sit really nicely. And it makes such a difference, I think, when you do this and you kind of low light and highlight your furniture, because it really gives it a lot more depth. And I think when you've got all this detail as well, I mean, it's worth doing. So pretty much, I didn't come back actually to show you what I put there, but it was just some remainders that I just put here, here and here to finish it. I put this leaf on there, and I just left that pretty much. What I did do is I got a little bit of kind of heavier grit than I'd usually use to sand in here, and I kind of sanded a bit of distress away because I didn't like the way it just was a sharp cut off point, and it was just to kind of give it a little bit of age. So I did that, just, which you didn't see me do, but that I didn't do it on that side because it didn't need it, but on this side here it did. So I'm just going to put in all my definition. It's quite good if you get into all these little parts with your dark wax as well, because then that kind of gives it a, if it's getting too heavy, just wipe it back out. And this bit just takes a little bit of time. I quite like to put a bit kind of where, and then just pat that back. But you can see what a difference that there has already done. You know, it's made it. I mean, I've got to say, Martin, you've done a really nice job of making me putting this top. It's really nice, and you wouldn't know that I had been made into this shape. I've done in here, but if you wanted to be really kind of fancy, you could come back and you could highlight that with white wax now, if you wanted to.
Do you want to?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I'm just kind of giving the suggestion of what you could do, but I don't think I probably will. Are you asking me if I'm going to marry? I don't think I'm going to.
It was a bit of a find, that, wasn't it?
It was. It was a good thing to do, and I'm really pleased with how it came together and makes one cohesive piece of furniture now, which is nice. Again, I'm just going to soften that out there so that it just looks like it's stuck in there. Put a bit more clear that off that centre. Yeah, so I've not really got that much more. I've just got the sides to wax now. I think I could do some in here as well. Don't think I must have missed that a minute ago. And I'm just going to just finish this off, and then I'm going to let it dry, and we'll get it over for staging. So what has today really been about? The Jois Des Roses transfer is absolutely beautiful. So look at the colours, rewind it back to what colours you're going to use. Remember layers of paint. Really stop your furniture from looking flat. How you apply your transfer gives it movement. Remember, and add a little bit of dark wax to kind of like low light. As it's just doing those little parts really can make a difference. I'd like to thank IOD for giving me this transfer and letting me play with it. I'm very grateful. And they have a playlist which you can go and see all the new spring designs and things that they've got there, and you can go and see how other people use them. So I've been Leon from Made by Marley. Thank you very much, and I'll see you another day.